All right, we are finally live. Welcome. This is the first episode of the Talks with Rebecca J, or Talks with Reb J. Um, so prior to this, I had a little bit of problems with the microphone when I got initially. So for those who are live and see what's going on here, it's because the initial mic that I had wasn't working. I plugged it into my Mac and found out, for lack of a better term, it just wasn't working. Clipped onto a pencil with a pop filter. So, innovation, right? Um, so this episode is just me and my thoughts. This isn't meant to be anything too serious. As I go along, there might be some topics I'd like to talk about, as well as bring other people onto the show. But in the meantime, this is just the start of it. So, for anyone who's listening at the moment, or probably listening after I've posted this recording, thank you. Thank you and welcome. I am a real human being. I know you've probably seen several accounts of mine trying to reach out to you or trying to follow. Well, that's because Instagram has blocked me several times. Um, I've recently come to discover that if you log in both on your computer and your phone, it basically flags that activity, thinking it's suspicious. As a result, it blocks you, or it basically locks you out and asks you for verification rather. But if you fail to do it properly, or they just think you're a bot, they'll just shut it down altogether, and then they'll just claim you violated terms of service. So I know stuff with that, you have to be careful. I know I had to be careful because one thing I learned was that I didn't activate two-factor I can't say it properly. Two-factor authentication. I finally did that on this account now, so it's been running strong. I have not logged into any device but this phone, and so far everything's been good, so I'm glad that that's basically there. So, yeah, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Rebecca. I'm an illustration artist, I am a designer, and I currently reside in the Greater Toronto area. I've been working on a freelance basis since around June of 2019. Reason for that was that I was basically laid off. Prior to that, I was working in different agencies in different places. So basically, a lot of the work that I post is all creative stuff and creative exploration. I, as an individual, love to explore new things and experience new things in general. So I know one of the biggest things I love is to go on drives to areas I've never been to before. I find those adventures help to refresh not only the mind, but actually help me to think more clearer. In essence, it's me taking a break off of the many work that I do. So it's one of the many things that I like to do. So anyways, this isn't meant to be too long. This is just really a general intro. I'm still getting the hang of this whole podcast thing because right now I am actually just using a clip-on mic clipped onto a pencil, holding it right behind this pop filter. And as a result, that's probably producing not the best audio, but I mean, I'm gonna make it work. So I guess sit tight and hang on for that. So this is it's been a wild ride for sure. And it's also crazy that we're almost into 2022. I still can't believe we're actually almost there. It's kind of crazy. Like 2020 was probably a duration of 5 years. I won't say that forever. So, I don't know. I'm not sure what anyone else is thinking and how they're planning to do different things differently next year. I know one thing that I've been looking into, and one thing that I've been putting value on is routine. So, I mean, for me personally, let me talk a little bit about, I guess, my struggles with routine and struggles with consistency, because it's easier said than done. We know what's best for us. We know we should get up early. We know we should sleep early. We know we should exercise well. We know we should eat well. We know we should do a bunch of things, but we still don't do it. Easier said than done, of course, because a lot of times we just lack that why. Why are we doing that? Why does it really matter? Or is it just too much work? In truth, though, a lot of it is easier to do than what we think. It's really a case of making and setting up systems that makes it easier for us to do. So I've found from my experience, for example, as simple as setting an alarm for 6 a.m. again has been helping me get up at that time. Now, another issue would be trying to hit the snooze button, but that is something, again, in the mind, willpower. You have to tell yourself, okay, if I do this, is that really gonna solve anything? Is that really something I want to do? Or is this just because I'm super tired? And why am I super tired? So a lot of things are doable. A lot of things, especially when it comes to routine. Consistency is sometimes hard for me because I find that things are always changing. And no matter how much I think or I feel something's going to happen or I'm going to stick to this, something else happens. And that's not to say I'm putting blame on external things, but rather simply I could have had a night out and then it would be hard to wake up at 6 a.m. if I was up past like 12, for example. I know some people might think that's crazy, but believe it or not, I find that harder to wake up. I need like 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Stuff like that. It's the stuff you don't see coming that, of course, breaks that consistency. And a lot of times we do tend to be hard on ourselves. And we think that, oh shit, we did it. We're done. Like, done for. We can't do this anymore. But that, I know, is a voice that isn't helpful at all. You know, no matter what, we always have a chance to start over again. We always have a chance to constantly do something better and better, even if we mess up, even if we say, yes, you know what, I promise myself I'm going to be doing this every day, and then you fall off one time, not the end of the world. The main thing is, as soon as you can, pick yourself up and just get back to doing it again. Find that time, find that willpower. And speaking of finding time, actually, I was reading a book, or I'm still reading it rather, called Everything is Figure Outable. And currently I'm on the chapter that's talking about how we actually really do have time for anything. It really is how we make and schedule that time. And it's not to put an excuse on whether we have work, we have responsibilities, children, all of that stuff, because yes, those things are very valid. Those things take a lot of our time. However, I can almost guarantee that does not take up a full 12 hours or more, even, depending on what time you wake up and sleep. I bet you it does not take up that full duration, like back to back to back. You have pockets of time where you can relax. You have options where you can probably, for example, with a child, you can have a significant other help run some of the responsibilities. And what I'm basically saying is a lot of this stuff, it is possible to mitigate to other people or mitigate, or at least put on the back burner so you make that time in the day. Now, the book was talking about making 2 hours a day, and I find that a bit extreme, not gonna lie. But it is inspiring and it is something to think about because it does tell you about the way we structure our time. And of course, this stuff as well will help us with the consistency if we find we don't have enough time for whatever it may be that we want to do. It comes down to that scheduling. It really comes down to thinking, okay, if it means that much to me, what will I do? It's rather saying that I won't do it versus I can't. Because a lot of time when we say we can't do something, we already put the power in the world. We gave away our power. But truth is, we do have control over our own schedules. So it's at least switching the lingo. Instead of saying, I can't do this, or I don't have time for this. It's like, if you switch it, what it really means is I won't do it because I won't make the time for it. So think about it. If you won't make the time for it, that's a decision. So okay, if something means that much to you, you can switch it around. I might be babbling, by the way, at the moment, but I find this stuff really interesting because I'll say at the moment this stuff is really on my mind and something that I personally am trying to exercise every day. Like today I got up at 6 a.m. went straight to the gym. Did a little bit of grocery shopping, got back, got to doing some work, and basically now I'm starting the podcast. So, and I kept putting this on the back burner. And even if this is not perfect, that's okay. Like, again, for those who see me live stream, this is literally the weirdest setup ever. And that's because my main microphone is not working at the moment. So I'm pretty much making do with what I have. And I find that as well, that's a super important thing. And there's nothing wrong with making do with stuff. Like, I personally sometimes have that perfectionist brain where I wish everything was just in that right setup, the correct background, correct lighting, correct sound, everything. But truth is, I mean, if we focus so much on the perfection, of course, that stops us from even doing in general. And of course, I do know for some people that can be the reason as well as to why we don't start that whatever we want to do. It's also because we're not going to do it correctly. But truth is, just got to hit the ground running. I mean, I know there's the saying, ready, aim, fire, but it's actually now fire, ready, aim. It should be the other way around, because if you never start, you don't know. Again, it's better to start and then just kind of tweak it as you go on. So even, let's say, for example, you really want to hit up the gym, all right? Even if you hit the gym for 30 minutes, like maybe you have in mind you want to be there for 2 hours or something, or even an hour, but if you have time for 30 minutes, have time for 30 minutes. You still did something. That's still starting. You don't have to start doing a bunch of reps and sets and everything. Like, don't expect that at all. But just know that at least you started. So a starting point is always important. And you already did a lot of work that a lot of people wouldn't do, because, again, they're also kind of stuck in this shoot. Either A, I need to do this perfectly, or B, I just don't have time for it, or whatever. So it's good to have that mentality, because I think that is what helps with this consistency mindset and just trying to keep up the best we can, doing the important things that align to our values, that keep us healthy, that keep us happy. A lot of this stuff is just super important, something that we as individuals have to learn to do. So I could probably go on and on about this, but I do want to keep this a little short because this is just the intro and I'm just testing things out as well. So this is just a little bit of my thoughts and a little bit of an intro of me as I get to talk more and more about topics and stuff that's on my mind. You'll hear more about me and learn more about what goes on in my mind and what I have to share with others. And if you have anything suggestion-wise, topic-wise, you want to feature as well, I am open for that. So, yeah, thank you so far, and hopefully catch you on the flip side. So, all right, I'm going to wrap it up, and yeah, catch you in the next episode. All right.